Monsters, Book 2, What's with Wulf? Chapter 7, What Wulf Said and What Jinx Does. It was late, but Jinx, Val, Mumford, and Steiner were monsters. Their parents, who were mostly monsters too, thought it only natural that their children stay up past midnight. So, as the three guys waited, Jinx carefully wrote down the final words to Wulf's spell. She underlined the parts Wulf made up himself. Then she read the spell out to the others. Ice cream, popcorn, lemon twist, forget me, pal, I don't exist. Never was and never been. Gonna take it for a spin. This had been accompanied by a 360 spin high into the air and wild waving of the wand. Jinx could only hope she would be able to undo that one entirely. Air, clear water, ghostly pale, may this magic bite my tail. Wulf has definitely wiped us from his memory, Jinx said, and from his sight as well. What does that mean? Mumford asked timidly. Jinx smiled sadly. It means he can no longer see any extreme monster but himself. That's why he's been acting like he never heard of us, why he looks right through us. The magic makes us not exist in Wulf's eyes, Steiner exclaimed. Jinx read, chocolate peanut candy bar, super ego superstar. Mirror, mirror on the wall, extreme monster standing tall. See, Wulf just sees himself. As far as Wulf remembers, we don't exist. That's why he's the extreme monster. There's more. Extreme monster super cool. Dumb Team Pendant pays the fool. That's the part that made Wulf go work for Team Pendant, Jinx told the others. He probably meant to say plays instead of pays, which shows how careful you have to be when you say spells. Amazing stunt with hocus pocus, high to high and low to locus. Roller coaster going down, rumble tumble, look out clown. Jinx frowned. The last line had her worried. She hoped the magic wasn't planning to knock down the roller coaster when everyone was beneath it. Val frowned grumpily. Did the spell wipe out whatever good sense Wulf once had too? Steiner raised his eyebrows. Wulf once had good sense? At that, even Jinx smiled a little. The words to Wulf's spell, along with Wulf's accompanying gestures, gave Jinx the hints she needed to create an effective counterspell fairly quickly. She worked all night, and by 10 the next morning, the counterspell was almost done. Jinx just had to proofread the spell for mistakes and make sure she had memorized it perfectly. She didn't want Wulf to end up in even worse trouble. You three go on to the park, Jinx called from her bedroom window when she saw them arriving next door. I'll finish up the counterspell and take my broom. I'll get there as fast as I can. Ask the officials to save Wulf's stunt for the grand finale, and whatever happens, keep him alive. As the monsters arrived at Croney Island, they heard the roar of voices. They knew the press would be there along with the other extreme sports stars. They also expected to see a few hundred wealthy philanthropists and hardcore spectators. What they hadn't expected were thousands of fans shouting for Wulf to come out and do his death-defying stunt. They found Doc with his laboratory utility vehicle. Doc called it his LUV, and their equipment. Val updated Doc on the Wulf situation and told him Jinx would be there later, but that she was opting out of the demonstrations. Doc understood. She had more important things on her mind right now. Damon Christopher's team pendant arrived in the stretch Hummer, which stopped beside the spectacular team pendant trailer. Pendant posters advertised gear, t-shirts, and other products everywhere a photo might conceivably be taken. Dressed in a bright yellow team pendant uniform, Wulf was greeted with a tumultuous roar of excitement. He waved his still swollen hand to the crowd. Damon Christopher, looking especially dapper and well-groomed, climbed out behind him. Doc and the extreme monsters are here somewhere, Damon murmured to Wulf. Don't let their presence rattle you. Wulf rolled his eyes. There it was again, that strange reference to some group he'd never heard of. And why were they using his name? Dude, how many times do I have to say it? I'm the one and only extreme monster, Wulf said calmly. The world will realize that after I've done my stunt. He stared affectionately up at the rickety old roller coaster. It seemed to be leaning a bit to one side. Probably an optical illusion, he thought. Everything will be fine. Wulf turned to Damon. Dude, I can't tell you how much I'm looking forward to riding those rails again. Damon put a fatherly hand on Wulf's shoulder. Excellent, he said. And this time the world will see you do it, wearing the team pendant colors. The stunt Wulf's about to do is crazy, but he doesn't look worried, said Mumford. What's wrong with him? I'm not sure, man, said Steiner, but I think the magic is making him think it's okay. Remind me never to go near that spell book, Val said with a shudder. Hey, look, said Mumford. His hand is still swollen. At least Jinx kept him from signing the contract. The extreme monsters watched Damon shepherd Wulf into the team pendant's trailer as the rest of Damon's team climbed from the Hummer and posed for photos in front of the merchandise. The Slime Brothers are looking very happy with themselves, Steiner muttered. They should be, Val agreed. For once their trick is working. Oh my gosh, Mumford gasped. They have Team Pendant logos stenciled on their mouth. Yuck, at least Wulf hasn't gone that far, Val said. Let's see if we can find T. Rexford Snatley and get him to stop Wulf, or at least put him last on the program. T. Rexford Snatley, a little round man who liked to be called T-Rex, was the Extreme Team Sports League president and the MC of today's special demonstration. The Extreme Monsters found him talking chummily to Damon Christopher. Doesn't old T-Rex ever learn? Mumford said. I don't think he's very smart, Steiner agreed. Come on, said Val. Let's get this over with. The stunt demos are supposed to start soon. Mr. Snatley, Val said politely, approaching the two adults. Snatley and Damon looked down at Val and the others. Damon's grin became particularly predatory. Val ignored him. Sir, we wondered if Wulf's stunt could be saved, sort of, for the grand finale. Because your stunt will seem pathetically ordinary next to Wulf's spectacular demonstration? Damon asked snidely. No, Val said indignantly. It's just that T-Rex broken. Now, Damon, don't bait the boy. Sorry, my boy. I've already agreed to let Wulf go first. After that, it's his proposed stunt that has brought us out to the crowd and brought in the donations after all. The The three teammates trudged toward Doc's van. How can T-Rex let something like that go through? Val asked. Wulf put the stunt in his magic spell, Steiner reminded him. That's probably influencing T-Rex as much as Damon is. I wish Jinx would get here, Mumford muttered, looking around worriedly. She said she'd hurry, Val said. We'll have to trust her to do just that. Jinx was saying the spell to herself while practicing hand movements. It was the most complex spell she had ever written, and she wanted to get every word and gesture right. Wulf's life might depend on it. Bela the bat perched in his favorite spot on the tip of her hat. He had heard the spell so many times he could practically speak it himself. As Jinx mounted her broom and soared out her window toward the park, she was still muttering the words under her breath. The Croney Island roller coaster loomed drunkenly over the demo area. Temporary stands filled with excited spectators lined the dirt track along its base. The track held ramps of varying heights, and in the center, almost beneath the roller coaster, were half-pipes and verts. But right now, every eye in the audience was fixed on Wulf as he climbed the maintenance ladder to the top peak of the roller coaster, over 100 feet off the ground. His skates were tied together and slung over his shoulder. Val, Mumford, and Steiner, watching from below, could hear the wooden posts and girders creak. At the highest point of the roller coaster, Wulf sat and laced on his skates. He stood on his blades and dramatically snapped on the neutralizer wristband, which would prevent him from using his monster powers while doing the stunt. Whoa, look at that, Steiner said. Look at his hand. It suddenly went down to normal size. The neutralizer must have removed the last trace of Jinx's hand hex, Val said. Look how mad Damon is, said Mumford, nudging the others. He knows now for sure that Wulf was enchanted to keep her from signing. I think he's looking around for Jinx. So am I, Val muttered, but Jinx was nowhere in sight. Hey, wait a minute, said Mumford. If the neutralizer stopped Jinx's spell, why didn't it stop the spell that caused all this? Val shook his head. I'm not sure, but my guess would be that the wild magic spell is too much for the neutralizer wristband. It should. Look up, said Steiner, interrupting Val. Wulf's about to take the plunge. High above, Wulf pulled a team pendant scarf from his pocket and waved it around theatrically. Then he tied it around his eyes. Mumford's bandaged hands covered his face. I can't watch, he said. Wulf launched himself down the left rail, going like lightning, beginning with a backside grind, spinning to a blindside half-cab soul grind on the right rail. The problem came when he began his Barani, a front flip with a 180 spin back through the left rail. Even blindfolded, Wulf executed the move perfectly, but as he landed, the rotten wooden strut that held the rail directly beneath him shattered, and the rusty rail bent. The roller coaster lurched and swayed. Blindfolded and without powers, Wulf tumbled through the tracks and plummeted toward the ground.